Hey there, Darren Garman here, and welcome to the Heartland Multifamily Show, the place for all things multifamily. And I'm excited about this episode because I'm going to reveal to you the 3 strategies to use to get the best multifamily properties in any market. That's right, I'm going to say it again. I'm going to reveal to you the 3 proven strategies to use to own the best multifamily properties in any market. That's right, we're going to talk about not only how to do it, but what you need to do in order for that to happen for you on this episode of the Heartland Multifamily Show. Welcome to the Heartland Multifamily Show, the shorter, more profitable path to multifamily ownership and investing. All right, I'm excited about this episode because I'm going to be revealing to you 3 strategies that you use. And if you do use these strategies, man, you're going to have the best multifamily properties cross your desk in the shortest period of time that you're going to be able to have the option of buying. Now, I know it might sound a little unrealistic when I say it that way, but I promise you, after this episode, you do what I recommend on this episode, you're going to have a ton of great multifamily properties crossing your desk, and they're going to be the kind of multifamily properties you will want to own and invest in, whether you're active or passive, okay? But before we get into the 3 strategies to use, I might even reveal more strategies as we go along, but 3 for sure. I'd love to hear your comments about this episode. So if what I talk about on this episode resonates with you, do me a favor, go ahead and chime in. I'd like to hear your comments. Go ahead and place them below here, and we'd like to have some dialogue with you. That's number 1. Number 2 is if what I talk about on this episode resonates you, make sure you don't miss any of our other episodes. Click that subscribe button. Join us here on the Heartland Multifamily Show. All right, I told you I'm excited about revealing the 3 key strategies, and I might even add 1 or 2 more on how you can, in any market, how you can have the ability to buy the very best multifamily properties. And it doesn't matter where you're at, what city it's in, it doesn't matter, because what I'm going to share with you works in all locations. All right. Now, one of the things that gets in the way of a lot of people really achieving their potential as a multifamily owner or investor is their perception of the market. Interest rates are up, they're high, I may not be able to, interest rates are low, there's a lot of demand, and I can't compete to buy anything because there's so much demand, I'm getting outbid, I can't get an offer in, and then even when interest rates are high, it's, oh my God, interest rates are high and I can't buy anything because they're not making financial sense. In any market, my friend, you can buy, you can own, and you can invest, okay? So, let's go ahead and make sure that we talk about, knowing that, the 3 ways where you can get as many high-quality multifamily properties crossing your desk that you can take at least a shot at owning at any time and really in any market. So how do we do this, Darren? How do I go about getting as many multifamily properties, high-quality ones, ones that I want to own, man? How do I get those crossing my desk as frequently as possible? Let's start out with strategy number 1. It's going to be an obvious one, but I'm going to dig into the weeds on it with you a little bit because I'm going to tell you how important it is if you do it right. And number 1 is find a really good multifamily broker to represent you in the market. And listen to what I just told you. I didn't say find a real estate agent. I didn't say find someone that has a real estate license. I didn't say go to your Uncle Joe who's kind of working part-time, has got the real estate license. No, I didn't say it. I said work with a multifamily broker, specifically that specializes in multifamily properties, is full-time, you want them even more than full-time, but is full-time working in that specific niche in the market that you want to own multifamily properties in. So why do you want to do that? Because those people that spend 10 hours a day working just on multifamily properties, they're going to be able to have those relationships with those owners that own those properties. Okay? So, for example, you can contact me and say, hey, Darren, I might be interested in owning some multifamily properties in Cedar Rapids. Here's kind of what I'm looking for. I can tell you within 15 minutes who owns what you're looking for, where it's located, how long they've owned it, etc. And by the way, here's their phone number. I got their email address. Let's contact them. Let's call them. Let's see if they're interested in working with you in selling their property to you. Okay? You want to work with specialists, multifamily specialists in that market. And if you do, and if you commit to working with them, you will be surprised at how many, especially off the market properties, you're going to have a shot at owning. Okay? It's the disappointment, the discouragement that I hear from investors sometimes when they're not working with the right real estate agent or the right real estate broker. Okay, they're working with Sally, who has open houses every Sunday and is working with 80% residential buyers, but because Sally's got a real estate license, maybe she might be able to help me find, a really good multifamily property. Not going to happen, my friend. It's not going to happen. All right, so strategy number one is not only finding a really good real estate broker to join you on your team of finding you a multifamily property, meeting your criteria, right? But they specialize in it. They do it day after day. That's what they do. You want to line yourself up with them. You do that, and you'll be surprised at how many really good projects start crossing your desk that you have the option of buying, especially properties that you would want to own. Now, that's just number one. We got more to go here. That's number one. And I said that was kind of an obvious one, but please make sure you understood you got to work with that specialist, all right? That's number one, all right? Let's go with number two. Now it's time to do some work on your own. Number two, simply this. Go to an area, find an area, or if you're not in the city or location that you want to own multifamily in, have somebody go to that area and simply look for the kind of properties you want to own. Now, I know that sounds so obvious, but it's surprising how many people don't do that, don't think about doing that. Okay? So I can tell you, after I get done recording this episode with you, I'm going to drive home, and no doubt in my mind, I'm going to drive by probably a half a dozen properties I'd like to own. Okay? Half a dozen multifamily properties I'd love to own. You have the same thing. Same goes for you. You can drive by, check out properties that you want to own, A, because you probably drive by them anyway, and B, even if you don't, in areas that you want to own, spend some time driving around or having somebody drive and locate those kind of properties that you're thinking, hey, I'd like to own that property. That looks like the kind of property I'd like to own. All right? And after you find those properties, you have your list. All you simply do is you get on your computer and you go to the city or the county tax assessor's website. What are you going to find there? Guess what you're going to find? Who actually owns those properties? That's right. Who owns those properties? It's right there on the city or the county tax assessor's website, who the owners are. And in many cases, it also tells you their mailing address, how would you even get in contact with them. So think about this, all right? On one hand, you hook yourself up with, you become aligned with a real estate broker that specializes, is going to work for you in multifamily. That's all they do day in and day out. They've got their criteria. They're out there looking for properties and presenting you properties that are going to be on the market, but you're going to be seeing quite a few off-market properties too. At the same time, you're going to be doing some work, some shoe leather work, I call it, and you're going to be scouting out, checking out, and looking into those multifamily properties that you'd like to own based on where they're located, based on maybe their amenities. And they can be multifamily properties in the city that you live in, or they can be in another city and you're having somebody else check them out. And then once you find out where they're located, you simply do a little search on your computer. You go to the county assessor's site, tax assessor, or city tax assessor's website. Guess what they tell you? Who owns them? All right? So after you find out who owns them, all you do is you just go ahead and you draft a nice little letter. And the letter basically says this. It says, "Dear owner, I've seen your property at 123 Main Street. I am a multifamily owner and investor, and I'm looking to acquire more properties this year. I like your property, I like where it's located, and I really think I would like to own it." All right, we're going to take a quick break. I hope you're enjoying this episode. I'm going to be having a free webinar coming up, the link's below, on how to correctly and with low risk invest your IRA or 401k in really good multifamily properties. A majority of our investors do this. I do this personally. It's not illegal. Make sure you click the link below. We'd love to have you. I'm writing you to see if you would have an interest in entertaining an offer to sell your property. All right, here's my name, here's my phone number, here's my email address. Please let me know if you would have an interest in this. All right, now here's the most important part of that little letter that you send. It simply says this: P.S. Bold P.S. Here's what it says. In the event you don't have an interest right now, please keep this letter and this business card, if you've got one, handy, so when the time comes up, please contact me and let me know when you may have that interest. Okay, because a lot of times you'll contact people, and do you think they'll have an interest right then and there after reading your letter? Do you think they're going to open up the letter, read it, oh my God, I'm going to call this person, and call you? No, that's not going to happen like that. In some cases, it might even happen a few days after that. But if you say, hold on to it until you're ready, they'll put it in their drawer, and then when the time comes up, guess who's going to get the call? You. That's right, you. So let's back up for a second, because we've talked about two strategies on getting a lot of high quality multifamily. Again, multifamily that you want to own to cross your desk and have a shot at buying. Number one, you hook yourself up, you align yourself with a competent, super good real estate broker that, again, what? Specializes in multifamily. That's number one. Number two, on your own, you've spent some of your shoe leather and you have found, you've located, or you've had someone find and locate properties that you would have an interest in owning. You found out who owns those properties and you're contacting those owners. So just think, you got those two things going on at once. What are the odds that you're going to have at least one of those properties available in a short period of time that you have an option of buying? The odds are pretty darn good. And then there's number three. Number three is kind of an obvious one, but it's one that you want to do at the same time. And that's what you're probably already doing. That's right, you go online and you do some searches online. There's a lot of national websites out there that have multifamily for sale. There's local real estate company websites that have multifamily for sale. You want to cover that base too, right? You want to cover that base too. So by doing that, you're of course saving a little bit of time by using the computer and you letting that do the heavy lifting for you. But you don't want to make the mistake of just substituting just doing that as doing all of the work, or thinking that that's really where all of your work is going to be focused. No, that's only one of three ways that we're going to be doing. Because if all you do is just depend on something hopefully popping up on your computer or on a website one day, man, you're going to be waiting a long time. You're going to be waiting a very, very long time. Because if the properties are really good, I want you to ask yourself this question. If the multifamily properties are really, really that good, do you think they actually hit the market at all? Do you think if a multifamily property, one that's so good that you'd want to own, if it's that good, do you think that once word kind of gets out that it might be available, that it actually hits the market? No, my friend, most of the really good properties don't even hit the market. So that's why, even though I'm telling you, you want to spend time on that computer, checking out regional, national, local websites on multifamily for sale. You don't want to just simply depend on just that because you will miss out on a ton. All right. So I've revealed three strategies. Three strategies. If you do these three things all at the same time, and they're easy to do, you will have a ton of great multifamily properties crossing your desk that meet your criteria that you're going to want to own. But I'm going to offer you a bonus strategy. One that if you implement this strategy, this is bonus strategy number 4. If you implement this strategy I'm going to give you, you're going to have even more really good multifamily properties crossing your desk, even at times that you're not expecting them to cross your desk. What am I talking about? All right, but before I get into the fourth one, let's quickly review the first three. First of all, number 1, aligning yourself up with a fantastic real estate broker that, again, what? Specializes in multifamily. That's number 1. Number 2, yourself or you have somebody for you, find those locations, go to those areas, those pockets, whether it's in the city or whether it's in your town, those areas where you want to own multifamily, and find and locate those properties that you want to buy by spending what I call shoe leather time on locating and finding those properties. And once you found them, you do what? Like I said, contact the owner, use that letter formula that I gave you, and see if they're interested in selling their property. And then number 3 is, of course, go ahead and depend on some of the work being done with your phone, with the computer, going to the national, regional, and local websites and finding multifamily for sale. So those are the 3, but let me give you a 4th one that's going to blow you away on how often it works, but most people don't implement it. And it's simply this: continuing to follow up with those owners that don't get back to you, or those owners that do. Now, what do I mean? In strategy number 2, I told you that you want to contact those owners in the areas that you want to own multifamily and see if they have an interest in selling their multifamily property. Now, at the time you contact them, like we said before, what are the odds that right then and there they're going to have an interest in selling their multifamily property to you? The odds aren't very good. The odds aren't very good at all. I would say 90% plus, 90 plus, I'd even say 99% of the time. Those owners, at the time they receive your letter or they hear from you, they're not going to have an interest in selling it to you right then and there. But maybe, do you think they'd have more of an interest 3 months down the road? Probably a little more. 6 months down the road. Probably even a little more. Maybe a year down the road. Or maybe a lot more. See, what most people don't do after they contact those owners the first time, they never contact them again. Okay? You want to have 10x the amount of multifamily properties crossing your desk that meet your criteria. You do one simple thing. Strategy number 4, continue to follow up with those owners of apartment communities that you've contacted over and over and over again. Remind them that you're interested in owning their property. A minimum of 4 to 5 times a year. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do is you got to contact. Hey, it's Darren, just reminding you, I know I contacted you about 3 months ago. Just a friendly reminder, I'd love to own that property. If and when you'd have an interest in selling, just contact me. Happy to have that conversation with you. It doesn't have to be anything that is super formal. It can be pretty informal, but it's that contacting them 3, 4, 5 times a year, reminding them that, hey, when the time comes, please get in touch with me and let me know. Because truth be told, most of the time when a multifamily property sells, it sells at a time that the current owner didn't choose. Something comes up, something happens, a key decision is made, and now it's time to sell. So when that time comes, you want to be the first person they're thinking of when it comes to selling their multifamily property. So continue to follow up with those folks, okay? 3, 4, 5 times a year. And you will, like I said, have even multifamily properties become available to you when you're not really expecting them to be available. You'll get a call. You'll be on vacation in Mexico and you'll get a call and a text and you're like, who is this calling me? And it's Frank. And Frank is the guy you've been talking to for 2 years. You've been reminding him he owns that awesome 72-unit apartment community that you'd love to own. And guess what? Frank is moving. Frank is getting a divorce. Frank's getting married. Frank's kids are going to have a huge whatever. Something's come up. Frank wants to sell, and guess what? He wants to talk to you. Okay. So, you implement the 3 main strategies in my 4th bonus strategy, you'll have more multifamily, more great multifamily crossing your desk that you'd want to own than you ever thought possible. I'm glad you've joined me on this episode of the Heartland Multifamily Show. Again, if what I've talked about here resonates with you, I'd love to hear your comments below. Leave me your comments. I'd love to have some dialogue with you. And if you don't want to miss out on any other episodes where it's everything multifamily, make sure you click that subscribe button. All right, have a great day.